It is time for us to give Main Street Magazine some airtime as we do every week. Main Street Magazine on the air. Of course, you can find Main Street Magazine in magazine form throughout our tri state region and also on the web, mainstreetmag.com. And let's welcome in Thorin this morning. Good morning, Thorin.
Good morning. How are you?
Still without power.
Oh my goodness, that's awful.
Our generator has been running now for 8 straight days. As a matter of fact, 42% of Sharon is still without power. That's amazing. And in today's advanced society, it really is amazing.
It is, and it really shows us how dependent on technology we are.
Uh, Technology and also leadership of our of our companies which supply the power to us. Can you imagine? Well, I won't go into it because I've been going on for too long about it. But really, I feel sorry for the people that have lost and businesses that have lost hundreds and possibly thousands of dollars simply because of mismanagement. Well, with that being said, I guess we could talk about the article we might have well touched about it last week. We'll do it again anyway. Ready for the heat, because we are in another heat wave here now.
We are, and I feel especially sorry for you that you don't have a AC then.
Well, thank God we have AC here at the air conditioning, and but still, there's so many people out there that really have to deal with this heat. So that's but this is a story really. It's more of a lighthearted story about dealing with the heat.
It is. Let me just see. I'm just trying to look here for the in the magazine for it. Let me see here. What are you? Which one is? It's in the current issue, no?
Yep, it is in the current issue. It is. It is. I'm trying to find out what page it is here on the current issue. It's in the real estate section. No, that's home inspections. Pardon me. That's right.
Yeah.
Uh, well, what the heck? It's
I'm
there
not seeing it.
someplace.
Is it a past one?
I don't know. No, I found it in here someplace. Not ready for the heat. Or do you have an AC? Well, that is actually an ad. Pardon
Yeah, I was
me.
gonna say.
That's an ad for.
Hey, that's how good the ad is, right?
Well, hey, they're the folks that when our generator ran out of propane, they were out here within 2.5 hours filling it up. So,
That's how it should be, right?
well, it is. That's the service that you expect, and that was on a Sunday morning, believe it or not. And it's not only that, but I'm sure you at Main Street Magazine, you know this as well. Also, Greg Kilmer at G&K Electric, they came over to make sure that once the propane was put in, that everything was done properly. The Sharon Fire Department came over that night because the generator was off, and they would just check to make sure that everything was okay, that there wasn't a fire or anything like that. It's great to live in a community that you have that much commitment and concern from the people around you.
It is, and I think that's just, as you said, it just shows our community support and our local businesses and how much they, feel a part of, our residents and our businesses and how, things should be and, what they can do to help out.
Now, I want to go to the story that is in the magazine, and that is by Griffin Cooper, making something old new again, and that is
That's
DriveIn.
in the Stephanopoulos
Yeah,
Empire, if you will.
yeah.
The young Stephanopoulos is who began the drive-in in Armenia. It's something that Griffin and I talked about doing this piece about. I don't know if everyone realizes, but the Stephanopoulos family, they own a chain of restaurants throughout our region in both Connecticut and New York. The Four Brothers restaurants, obviously, but then they've also purchased other restaurants like the Boathouse in Lakeville and the Chatham House up in Chatham, New York. The Millerton Inn they redid, or one of the brothers redid that in his family. And so the young entrepreneurial Stephanopoulos has had this idea about a drive-in that they kind of, when some of their customers heard they were doing it, kind of were like, you guys have to do it. And I don't know how many of your listeners have gone to it, but it certainly has its own kind of decor and atmosphere, and they've worked very hard to create that. And this year in particular, once the restrictions lifted and they were able to open again, they've actually been a huge draw for the entire region because, hey, we can't go inside to the movies anymore. So at least this was some sort of normalcy, but still in a very safe way, being outside, being in your own car.
And they've done some interesting things there with that Airstream trailer. Last year we gave away an overnight stay in that, and a family of four won that. And not only did they get to stay overnight, but they got to see the movies, they got to have food and everything like that. They really have done a nice job merchandising the site. When I say merchandising it, by setting it up and making it a real pleasurable experience, and not only a throwback to the past, but they have all the modern digital equipment that you need to operate a theater nowadays. They really have done an amazing job with that.
They have, and they've actually turned into a venue too. So I know they've had a few weddings there, but the photos that I've seen from that, the during the toasting and all that, they have the photos of the bride and groom in the background on the big screen, and it's kind of cool.
Yeah, and what's nice about that, every town wants a destination. The rail trail is
For
a
sure.
destination for sure, all other places, but a theater like that, what Four Brothers has done, is a destination. Not only the restaurants that bring people in, but now people from 20, 30 miles away will make a desired trip to go see a movie there. So it's really great for the economy.
It certainly is, and to bring something to that area, I mean, yeah, that's just wonderful.
Now, you have another article, Simple Pleasures, and that is pick your own experiences. And we have that in our area, everything from cherries to blueberries to strawberries. I mean, we really do live in a bountiful area.
We do, and there's, as you know, there's so many small to medium-sized farms in our region, and some have pick your own, which is a great thing to do with the family, and even pick your own flowers. But it's Regina really got down to what are the simple pleasures of life, and I feel like a lot of us have been re-examining that for the last few months. And here's something that is good for our local farmers. Support local. No farms, no food. Theory, which is of course true. But it's also something fun to do and healthy. To local fruits and vegetables, and the beauty of just being outside in nature, and seeing how some of our local farms operate and what they have to offer, because most of them have I'm just thinking of, like, last year I went to Greg Farm with my family, and we picked blueberries, but then they had a store, and they have goats, and they have an art show, and some of them have wool, and things like that. So it's kind of an experience to go to some of these different farms and just see how they're set up and what they have to offer, and the really incredible products that they have, and they're mostly delicious.
It reminds me when I used to work weekends in Albany. On my way up to Albany, I would stop at one of the many cherry farms, and it used to be years ago they sold cherries. Now, when
Hmm.
you go to these cherry farms, you can pick your own cherries. They sell cherries. They sell cherry pies. You name it. It's like you just said. There's a whole raft of things that comes with the experience of not just the cherries themselves.
Exactly. And it's I think it's part of the fun. It sets the season for many of us, in the fall, going to the different farms with apple picking, and some are known for their specific apples, and everything that yeah, you can get a pie, you can get a turnover, but it's the experience of being there and smelling it, touching it, and tasting then the crisp apple, or strawberry or blueberry, whatever the season may be, and picking it yourself.
The next article that Griffin Cooper did, a summer reimagined, and that's your story on virtual events, and how those virtual events keep traditions alive. Like, I know, like the weekend in Norfolk, not only did they have a virtual weekend, but now they're running a campaign which says, "Hey, you know what? Visit. We have over 24 different videos of what happened in Norfolk this past weekend in Norfolk. You can visit Norfolk now anytime." And they've turned something that was possibly a negative into a positive over the long term.
Yeah, I think we've touched on this in the last couple of months about, different venues. Of course, like all the theater groups and concert halls, and, of that sort. But there are also, to the much smaller venues, that, places that aren't necessarily venues, like, Noble Horizons. It's a retirement community, but they have a lot of events. And, there are other places like that who also do have events. And the fact that, all these places have had to pivot now, and some of them have created a great opportunity, and, turn this negative into a positive, but they're still, connecting with us, and creating some form of entertainment. We're just doing it from the safety of our own home or in a different way. Like I know the Sharon Playhouse, I think it was a couple of weeks back, they had an outdoor screening, they on the side of their building, so it just the different thing that the venues are doing to still, keep going, to have quote unquote events, but it's just in a virtual way, most of them now.
And what's the only sad thing about that is the great thing about Noble Horizons and is that the Noble Horizons always welcomed the community in, so people at
Always.
Noble Horizons didn't feel removed from the community. They're still part of the community, an active part of the community. And I think that Noble Horizons and other areas events have done a great job in keeping their residents as 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 up to date and as and still feeling involved as possible.
Yeah, and I mean, for since we're talking about Noble, I know how some of the events that they've put on the last few months are just incredible. The array of them, and they're all free. And some of the exercise classes, even I know, some of them you'd think are, more for the residents, but honestly they're for the whole community. And whether they be intellectual based or exercise based, like Leslie Eckstein of Studio Lakeville does a free weekly class. They've had two different yoga instructors from, like, upcoming is from Space or Yoga at Space. One of their instructors is going to be doing a free chair yoga session every Friday. And it doesn't matter if you live in Salisbury or in Millerton, you could take part, and log on through the website, get a Zoom code, and you're participating with a class of 10, 20, 30 people, however many it may be. And some of the intellectual based discussions that they've been having um, are just incredible, with a couple of different Hotchkiss school instructors, and or people in the community, like my one of my writers, Mary O'Neill, has been doing a I think it has just ended, but she did a 4-week course at Noble, and the topic was philosophy, life, death, and everything in between. And it was just incredible, and she was telling me about it, and how just amazing it was, the discussions that were being had, and they were deep and personal. And so I feel so great that you're still able to have that connection, even though it's now through a computer for the most part.
And we will only have about a minute or two left with Main Street Magazine on Robin Hood Radio this morning. But I love this next story simply for the title of it: Traffic, Ticks, and Henry David Thoreau.
CB is a talented writer, but he's a funny guy. So he pitched me this idea because he lives close to, over just past you, heading over to Falls Village, and there's a kind of a state park near him. And he was saying there's so much traffic there, so many people, everyone's going, yeah. And so he had this idea. He's like, what if I wrote this little kind of more literary philosophical piece. And I love the idea. And actually had my sister-in-law, she's an avid hiker, Anna, asked her to use some of her photos because I felt that they would work perfectly with this piece. But I think it's something that we can all relate to, because we've all been spending much more time outside and exploring our region and everything that it has to offer. So we're all dealing with extra traffic from it. We all have to watch out for the ticks, and sometimes we find ourselves being a little lost in philosophical thoughts out there in the woods.
All right. Well, Main Street Magazine, once again, at area locations where you can pick it up, mainstreetmag.com on the web. And you're already starting to put together, I would figure, next month's edition, right?
We're well underway, but today is the 11th, and so we go to press in about a week or so. And September is shaping up to be a fun issue. And anyone who'd like to advertise, give us a call or shoot us an email. We're happy to help spread the word about your business, and especially during this time, with everything having to, for some business at least, having to switch and to kind of get the word out about how, you're still open, number one, and then just how you're conducting business, whether it's pickup or delivery or, more online. So give us a call and we'll help you out.
All right, Thorne, we'll speak to you next week. Take care.
Sounds good. And take care of that electric, huh?
I hope so, sooner or later.
All right.
Take care.
Bye.
That is a Main Street Magazine on Robin Hood Radio. Once again on the web, mainstreetmag.com.